if you can't get excited about Stetson football now, you may not have a pulse. And when you look at it, I didn't realize that last week we were the only Division I football team that won in the state of Florida, and so we'll carry that banner just very fine. But hopefully people will come back, even some of the skeptics, because as you get into season 5 and we're not seeing the production on the field, well, we shouldn't have brought it back. Well, we shouldn't have done this. Why is university wasting all this money, so to speak, even though football operates at a profit? Um, Hopefully that sense of pride in Stetson, um, that we are Hatters, we are Stetson, we deserve to be good, we deserve to have the best, and be have that overt pride, not just say, hey, I'm from Stetson. No, well, I'm from Stetson. It's a chance for alums to come back and take pride in the place they were at, to come back and see the changes, to come back and be part of the family, and to get involved in the ongoing nurturing of students going forward. From the football aspect, we're going to have a lot of not only players from the 50s coming back to be part of it, but also obviously, hopefully, a bunch of our players from the recent times will come back and reconnect or stay connected, because it's still that alumni network that you're purchasing when you come to a school like Stetson. And we want to make that network get energized so that when job opportunities, business opportunities, grad school opportunities come up, we can leverage those people who've had success and have that kind of experience to help our younger kids graduate. If he drops back and doesn't like what he sees, he can take off, and he is their leading rusher, as you said, and so he's able to create a bunch of things with his feet. So you get to him a 3rd and 4, 3rd and 5, protection breaks down. He can make sure he can get the first down with his feet, and so we got to make sure that we're keeping him contained. Make sure someone is in their rush lanes. It takes away some of the things you can do defensively as a defensive pass rusher, because you can't be spinning out, and when you get to a certain level, you got to make sure that you stay outside rather than take that easy move inside. He gets outside the pocket and he creates a lot of problems. So the thing about it is we were not filling the gaps quite effectively. Our safety wasn't coming down in the option. He's got to be part of that thing. Against the offense we're facing now, it's more easy to get safeties down to the point of attack, where we think they're going to be. They still use a lot of motions. They still try to outflank you and get the ball in the perimeter. But again, our skill matchups are better than our defensive line matchups, and they're scoring a lot of points. I think they're averaging about 38 a game or something like that. So we still have our work cut out for us. But, well, defensively, they run multiple fronts. They'll be in a bear front at times, which means both guards and center are covered. They'll be in a 4-man front, but they'll do different things with their inside people to change the blocking schemes that you have to use, and then lastly, they'll be both in a 3-linebacker look, sometimes in a 2-linebacker look, which again, our offensive line and running backs and fullbacks have to understand which linebacker they're working to in that scheme. So their defensive ends are really good athletes. I mean, really good players, and they're going to cause us problems. So we're going to have to do some things protection-wise to make sure that we buy our tackles a little more time to handle those guys. They present you with a number of different combinations that we're going to have to be really good at the quarterback position this week to make sure that we're recognizing what they're doing and distributing the ball where it should go. I don't know if it gives us any more motivation. I think it gives us a sense that we can play with these guys, and that it certainly gives a sense last year that we weren't that far away, and with a couple tweaks or a couple plays, we would have won that game. And so what we got to do is make sure we don't get in that situation. I know early in the game last year we dropped an interception in the deep end zone that would have changed the whole game, and it would have been no problems really. We would have won the game. And so we got to make sure that we don't let that happen again, and that we're very sound on special teams as well, because I believe they faked a punt on us last year, but luckily Colby Duncan made a play and stripped the ball, so it didn't hurt us. So they have some very good returners in their special teams game. They've returned kickoff for a touchdown. They're 3rd, I think, in the Pioneer League in punt returns, and so we've got to make sure that we take care of details so we don't give it up any hidden yardage. I think it's credit to our offensive staff and Coach Stan Clayton, our offensive coordinator, Scott Salick, our quarterback coach, Clay Mazza, Harry Richards, our running back coach, Clay's our tight end coach, and Jake Burns, our receiver coach, have done a great job of putting our kids in situations where they can be successful. They're really careful about not asking certain kids to do things they can't do, and they're really good at creating space for our running back to run in. And however that is, whether it's lining up in a certain formation to get a technique that widens a hole, or running a certain motion that will pull a linebacker out, and therefore you go from a 7-man box to a 6-man box. They're doing a great job of putting us in situations where we can run the ball more effectively. And then also in the passing game, they're doing a great job of trying to get people in positions where not a lot of people are around. Last week we were able to do that by isolating Donald on the backside of a trip set, and therefore he was really one-on-one with the corner over there because the safety was overloading to the other side. And by doing that, he was able to have 3 big plays, and they continued not to double cover him, so we were able to benefit from that. And the nice thing is we feel we've got 4 or 5 guys out there that if you double one of them, you're going to pay the price by getting somewhere else. And the hidden and it's not so subtle, but subtly Colin McGovern has done a great job of distributing the ball where it has to go, and he's doing a great job of not only the pre-snap read and making any checks that he needs to, but also confirming what he's seeing after the snap to make sure that's what it is and putting the ball where it has to go. And the other thing is, we're not giving up a lot of sacks, and one of the reasons is Colin's getting rid of the football when he needs to, and he's not afraid to throw it out of bounds and come back and fight for a second 10. So all those things together have been executing very well the last couple of weeks, and again, we hope to continue that. The fact that we were able to score just about every time we've had the ball in the last 2 games, again, hopefully they're working on a lot of different things. And I go back to our offensive staff doing a great job. They're doing it out of different formations and different personnel groups, and they're doing it with different kinds of tempo. And so there's all different little facets that as a average fan you may not understand, but subtly for defenses it makes them very hard. For example, we're doing certain things with tempo where they can't substitute, and then we're getting in a formation because of the versatility of our personnel. Grant Hodges, who can play fullback, tight end, Donald Parham, who can line up wide or can line up tight, allows us to get into really difficult formations for certain personnel defensively to defend, and we're doing that in such a way because we're not substituting, so they can't substitute, and we're taking advantage of that as well. And all those things have led to the productivity you've seen. Dream coming in, we felt had a chance to contribute as a freshman, and we felt he was a very instinctual runner, that he had great acceleration, that he had really good cutting ability and great vision. And what he did when he came in here, he convinced us on his physicality. The 1 touchdown he scored from 44 last week, he actually broke 6 tackles to get there and carried 2 of them in the end zone. And that part of his game has really elevated. The other part is he's trusting what the landmark is. In other words, the play is supposed to develop a certain way, but the way we do it, sometimes it takes a little time for the defense to flow for that hole to open up. Initially, he would make a cut too quickly, and therefore he'd missed what the hole was going to be, and now he's a lot more patient. And with his great acceleration, he can even be more patient than a normal back because he can still burst through the hole before they can close it. The other thing that he's really improved on is his pass protection. He came in here not having done it much, and I didn't know if he would really take it seriously, but he's really worked on that thing. And there were a couple times where, he was the last stand to keep Colin safe, and he went up there and made the play and bought him just that little more time to get the ball off. As I told the team last Friday night, the enemy of success and greatness is satisfaction, and we can't be satisfied with where we're at. We have a long way to go in a number of areas. We got to play a lot better run defense. We got to play a lot better special teams at times, and so we have plenty to work on. And the good thing is this team is looking at this season like that. It's a series. If it's a 10-round fight, this is round number 8 coming up, and it sounds cliche, but really these guys are the best team we've had here. They be where their feet is right now. They don't worry about what's going down the road. What can I do today to get better? If you look at what happened last week, regardless of all the scores, we got 1 more turnover than they did. We won the explosive play battle. We won the 3rd down battle, and in the red zone, we scored touchdowns, and our defense held them to 1 field goal, and that was the difference in the game. So those are the things we emphasize every week. Is the things I talked about with the team. 1, on defense, we've got to contain their quarterback. We've got to make sure he doesn't have a lot of time to throw, and if he pulls it down, we've got someone there to tackle him. Number 2, we've got to shut down the run. We cannot allow them to run the football as well as the teams the last 2 weeks have. And number 3, we've got to create some turnovers and some short fields for our offense to maybe get some quick scores. Offensively, we got to keep clicking on all cylinders. We got to be able to handle their defensive ends, who are very athletic, and they do a really good job defensively of putting them in situations where their matchup athletically is one they can win, and they do that. Number 2, they're pretty physical up front, and we got to adjust to their multiple fronts. So we got to make sure that we're in the right play for the front that we're seeing, and then when they move, slant, stem, or whatever, that we're cognizant of that and can make the adjustment on the run after the ball snap to get that done.